Hi guys, welcome to the video. So today I'm going to show you how to remove or replace a stator in a hub motor. So for this particular motor, it's a MXUS 3000 watt hub motor. The tools I'm going to be using is a Formula Allen key, a pair of circlip pliers, mallet, I've got a piece of wood, and I'm also going to use a Makita driver, which with a Formula Allen key bit on. You don't have to use a driver, you can just use an Allen key if you want to, but I'm just going to do it because it makes things a bit quicker. So this procedure is the same for all hub motors, which are brushless and gearless. Really easy to do. I'm just going to do a quick video and show you the best way of how to remove the stator. So first off, you just want to remove your nuts and your spacers. Might as well do it on both sides. It doesn't matter which side you start with, you can start with any side you like. The motor's been set outside, so that's why it's condensated. So yeah, you've got a Formula Allen key just to undo all these, but I'm going to use a driver just to make things a little bit quicker. So this particular motor has got nine bolts. Generally 2000, 1500 and 1000 watts just have 8 bolts. So that's that side undone. Really easy to remove now. Sometimes it will just kind of pop up, but you see guys with pullers and all sorts of stuff. You don't need that. So what I've got is just a piece of MDF just to protect the floor and protect the axle from getting damaged. So obviously this is the side I've just undone. So if you just put it down like that and just give it a tap. So that's started to release now. You can see there's a bit of a gap. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to undo the other side. Generally, that side would just fall off, but for some reason it's a little bit stiff, so it's not a problem. Just go on to the other side now. Obviously, if you're using a driver, just make sure you got a good quality bit and it's definitely all the way down, because you don't want to strip the Allen key head. So that's all 9 out of that side. So with this particular motor, it has a circlip on the axle. So you will need a pair of circlip pliers to remove the side cover, but generally 1000, 2000 watt motors, they don't have this circlip, so you won't need to do this. You can skip this bit, but I'm just going to take it off quickly. So that's it, it's off. I'm just taking it off and putting it on the side just so it doesn't go missing. So yeah, that's that side now. I've undone those bolts, all 9 of them. So I'm going to flip it over the axle, drop it down on there. So that's the sound that you want to hear. So now that has released this side, which is good. So that'll just come straight off. Now that's come off. Now you've got to be careful that on here, this bearing, sometimes there's this, they supply these washers. With this particular motor, they've only give 1. Some motors you'll get 2, 3, possibly 4, or you might just get 1 thicker one. Obviously don't lose that, keep it safe. So with this particular motor, I've only got 1. Sometimes what you'll find is it'll stick on there like that and you've not noticed it. So yeah, I'm going to put that to one side, keep that safe. So obviously that side's off now. Back to the other side, same again. So now that side should be released. Yep, it is. So what you'll find, this motor, because it's got a bigger axle and a thicker cable, it comes off quite easily. What you will find on a 2000 or a 1000, you've got the stainless steel spring they supply and then some heat shrink. So what you need to try and do there is pull it out of the way. If you can, pull the heat shrink and the spring from out the axle up the cable to about here, just so it's out of the way, because that will make taking this off a lot easier. But with this motor it comes off really easy because it's got a bigger bearing. It's a bigger bearing, like I think this is 24mm on a 2000 watt. You'll probably find it's like a 17mm. So what you can do then is just take one cable at a time. And with the hauls, obviously this is got a dual haul. You might potentially only have 1, but it's the same procedure. That comes out. There's your side plate. So you put that to one side. And that's it, we're nearly there. So, if you want to remove the stator, because it's obviously magnetic, that won't just pull out, you have to force it out. And what you might see as well is like guys standing on it and wrestling with it and doing all sorts, but personally, this is like, I find this is the easiest way. Again, you've got your piece of wood with your axle on. Always do it with your cable facing up because you don't want to end up damaging your cable. And what you need to do with just one firm bang is obviously watch your fingers, because if this goes down, you're gonna crush your finger on the floor between the rim and the floor. So what I try and do is once I've got it like that, it's just flick my fingers out, push down, all in one swift movement, and this then will pop up. So I'll demonstrate it for you now. And that's it. It's out. Nice and easy. If you was going to install, say, some cooling fluid, now would be your chance to do that. You can obviously give that a clean. Obviously these are magnetic, so you've got to make sure you've got a clean cloth. You don't want any bits of metal that's stuck to it, because otherwise they're going to obviously magnetise to this, and then you're going to have magnets in between your motor and it's just going to make a horrible noise. But yeah, that's out. Now with this motor, it says it's got a direction, which is good. Yours might not have it. Potentially you might have the tyre still on yours, which is fine. You can leave the tyre on, it's not a problem. The only thing I would advise, if the tyre's on, you just got to make sure that you put your stator back in the correct way. Obviously, to know which is the correct way, the cable, generally on most motors, always is the disc brake side. So this is this side. So obviously we was to put that back in now. So this is, I'll do it reverse. So imagine if you're sitting on the bike. So you're sat on the bike, and then you're going to have your drive side this side and your brake disc this side. So if that's the case, this would go in like that. So this is like a good thing to do. For example, say if you damage your motor cable, or you break your axle, or you damage a thread on your axle, and you want to remove, you want to repair your hub motor, and obviously don't want to throw it away. So what you can do is just buy a stator. Maybe go to your supplier where you got the kit from, ask if they can supply you a new stator. And then obviously you can buy the stator and just replace it. Because if you don't have the ability to be able to potentially solder, or you just don't feel confident enough in replacing this cable or replacing the axle, because if you want to remove the axle, you will need a hydraulic press to do it, nicely. It is possible to do it with a hammer, but I wouldn't recommend it. What you want is a hydraulic press to be able to push that out, push the new one in, put the new cable in, and obviously you can solder it all up if you have the ability to do that. So with this motor, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just using it for just a demonstration purpose for the video. So also as well, potentially you might be wanting to remove the stator, so you could replace the hall sensor. So with this particular motor, it has 2 hall sensors, one that side and one this side. So if you had a faulty hall sensor and you wanted to replace it, now's the time to do it. Pretty easy to do, to be honest. You will need a solder iron. You can just touch the soldering iron on these, and these then will come off. If you're going to replace it, what I would recommend to do is take a picture before you take it off, and you can see what colours go to what. You can also get the code off there, so you can probably put that code in Google, find yourself a replacement hall, or again speak to your supplier where you got the motor from. They'll be able to source you a new hall sensor. So yeah, if this was me changing it now and it was this one that was faulty, I would just get the soldering iron, pop the solder onto each one of these, which then will, obviously they'll release. What you need then is just a small fine chisel. Then what you can do is knock them out from this side, clean the joint, get your new hall, put them in, bit of epoxy, glue them back in, bend it down. Make sure you got this little bit of like this heat protective paper that you get, which you can reuse the same one. This one here has some silicone behind it, so you can put some silicone if you want. If you don't have any, it's not the end of the world. Then you can then resolder your joints for your hall sensor. Quite easy procedure, to be honest. Can be a little bit fiddly at times trying to get these out or try and fit the new one, but a bit of persistence, a bit of patience, it's easily done. Even if you can't solder, these joints are really easy to do. Even if you don't want to solder, like what I've seen people do is they'll join the wires here. It's because what you'll find is the hall sensor, some of them do come with cables, so you can just rejoin them here if you wanted to. But to be honest, £10 for a soldering iron, you might as well have a go. It's pretty straightforward. This motor is quite an old motor. As you can see, it's got some rust on it. Not sure why. I'm assuming it's got a bit of moisture in. Around here potentially wasn't sealed properly and a bit of moisture's got in, but generally these hub motors are pretty waterproof. As long as when they make them, this bit here is sealed well, you won't have any problems, and you'll find that your motor is relatively dry. I can see on this one they have used some sort of sealant, but yeah, it's not a problem. So I'll show you how to put it back together. So for the wheel back, so this is the direction the arrow's facing towards me. So imagine you're sat on the bike. This is your drive side, and this is your disc side. Just going to take your stator. Now be careful, because you don't want to get your fingers stuck. You'll see why. So I'm holding the stator from the cable side, which is the disc brake side. So what you want to do, just hold your wheel relatively steady and hold this just with one hand. But try not to like put your fingers inside the hole or anything like that. You just want to hold it like that. So say if someone was to snatch it off you, it would quite easily release from your hand. Because when you line this up, the magnetic force will pull the stator in, and if your finger's stuck in the way, it's going to hurt. And obviously, don't want you to do that. So get your stator, just get it relatively in the best line you can, and there you go. You see that? It just snatched it off me and pulled it in. That's it. Stator's back in. So now, all you got to do is put your plates back on. So this side was the break this side. I'm just going to give it a quick clean just in case I picked up any bits off the floor or anything like that, because obviously I don't want any bits in the motor. Check the bearing. Bearing's good, running really smooth. Again, say if you have a faulty bearing and you wanted to replace the bearing, yeah, you can. Again, hydraulic press ideally, but what I've done in the past is you can get a socket and put a socket inside there, put this on some pieces of wood. So you'd have, say for example, a piece of wood there, a piece of wood there on the floor, socket, get yourself a mallet on the socket, hit the socket and that bearing will pop out. And then you can buy these bearings. If you again get the part number, Google it, you'll be able to find them. You can obviously check the dimensions before purchasing if you wanted just to be double sure. Then what I do is put a little bit of grease in there, get your new bearing, mallet, tap the new bearing in, make sure it's nice and flat. Really easy to do. So now I'll just thread the Hall sensor cables back through, one at a time, followed by the phase. Any way really, it doesn't matter, as long as you get them all through nicely without damaging them. Tie that over there, and then what you'll find now, there we go, it's just popped on. All you got to do now is go round and line the holes up. What you might find is, you've lined the holes up now. Obviously you probably can't see it that well on the camera, but you've lined the holes up. This one might line up, but then this one might not. So what you can do if that's the case, just give it a twist to the next set of holes. And then you can check, and if that looks like it lines up, then good. If not, turn it again. But also what you can do, before you take the motor apart, if you wanted to, you could put like a bit of tape there, a bit of tape there, and then a bit of tape on that side, so then you know that's where you took it from. So once the tape all lines up, you're good, and you've got the cover plates back in the same place. But to be honest, it doesn't really matter, as long as the holes line up good. I mean, this is a good quality motor, so these holes, you know, they'll line up no problem at all. So what I'll do with this one, when I'm putting it back together, I won't use the driver straight away. I'll just use a normal Allen key because I don't want to ruin the threads. Also, a bit of Loctite on your bolts if you would like. This one has already got Loctite from the previous, from when I removed it earlier. You don't have to use the Loctite, they're pretty good, but it's up to you. If you've got some, stick some in. If not, I wouldn't worry too much. So I'm just going round now, it's kind of opposites, best I can. The reason why I try and do opposites is try and get the plate to sit down as flat as possible. At some point this motor will be taken apart again, so I'm not too worried about it at the minute. I'm gonna put some cooling fluid into this one. I'm just waiting for some to come, but I thought I'd just do the video today. So this is quite an important part now, is this gap. I'm not sure if you can quite pick it up on the camera, but you've got a bit of a gap, and trying to close it with your hands, it's quite difficult. So what I've got is a mallet, rubber mallet. Just give it a little tap, that's closed the gap a little bit. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to start driving these up. I'm not trying to go too crazy. I would normally use the Allen key, but I just want to try and make it a bit quicker for the video. So that's it, they're all pretty much done up. I'm just going to go around and check them now. As I go around and check to make sure that each one is done up tight. I mean, yeah, there's probably torque settings, but I ain't bothered about the torque settings. I'll just do them up till they're nipped up. But what I'm looking for here is the gap. I'm looking to make sure that I'm closing that gap up. If that gap will not close, then you're gonna have to get your mallet out. Again, give it a tap. The reason I'm using the Allen key to tighten them up is because I want to ensure that they are tight. I don't trust the driver 100%. So I've just gone round, nipped up all 9 of them. The gap looks nice and clean. Looks like it's mated well. So yeah, that side's good. So be careful not to drop the axle on the cable because I don't want to damage the cable. So now back onto the other side. So with this side, this is the side, the drive side, that you need to have your washers. So whether you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, put those back on now. And your side cover. Now you want to, oh perfect, straight away, perfect. Just want to be careful not to cross thread. You know, if you feel any biting or any binding, stop. So I hope the video helps. If you've got any questions, obviously you can ask. I'll do my best to answer any questions for you. Haters, if you want to hate, crack on. I'm not really bothered. This is the way that I do it. Works for me. Just the slow part now is putting it back together. Quick to take it apart, but a bit of time to put it back together. So obviously I'm trying to be careful. I don't want to strip any of these threads or cross thread them in any way. I want to make sure that they're going in as they should. I can feel that there's a Loctite in there already because they're going up tight. I'm doing it inside, the video inside as well, because it's raining outside today, so I don't want to fancy getting wet, getting the motor all wet. So that one there has just started to cross thread, which is a bit unfortunate. So I'm taking it out. But kind of good this has happened actually. I'm struggling a little bit with this side. So what I'm going to do, the reason I'm struggling with it is because the holes are not quite lining up. I thought they were originally, but as I'm doing that, I noticed they're not quite lining up. So what I'm going to do, undo them all again. Give that one turn. Looks worse. Give it another turn. No, another turn. Not too bad, so we'll go with that one. So do opposites the best we can. Obviously we're being a 9 bolt pattern, can't quite do opposites. I do like 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. I don't want to speak too soon, but as you can see, those 3 there went in pretty easy. So that just helps get it seated. If you're worried about damaging it, like obviously I've got a rubber mallet, I know it's be okay, but you can put a cloth on there if you'd like, it's not a problem. I mean, generally I guess you guys will probably be opening up a used motor anyway, so you're probably already going to have a bit of damage on it. But you know, you can always paint this if it's damaged. I know that some people, especially this side, when they fit the kit, don't quite adjust the derailleur properly, and then that's scraping on here and you end up getting a big score circle around it. Personally, I don't like that, so I'd end up taking it off and painting it if it happened to me. But personal preference, I suppose, depends what you want. If you're bothered about the aesthetics. Great motor as well, these. Never had any problems really reliable. And powerful. Maybe if you guys might be thinking, why has it got 2 Hall sensors? All 3000 watts have dual Hall. I believe it's because they're more likely to fail due to the heat and the power that runs through the motor. And also with the size of the cable, you can also fit an extra Hall, set of Hall cables through the main cable, which is useful. You know, Hall sensors do fail, unfortunately. There's not much you can do about it. I mean, it's quite rare, it doesn't happen often, but if you've only got a single Hall, then you've got no chance, no choice, but to change it if your controller won't run in dual mode. Struggling a little bit with this hole. Looks in line. Pressure on it. It'll go. So I don't know if you can quite see the gap there. Hopefully you can. So you need to try and close these gaps. What sometimes you might hear as well is the motor will kind of make a random tink or click sound. Don't worry, it's just this, it's just stretching and twisting so it sits flat. Trying to keep the motor facing you guys so you can see what I'm doing. Sorry if it's dragging on. Hopefully you might have learned something. That's the idea of the video. You know, just to pass my knowledge on and experience to you guys. Try and help you. You know, try and save you a few quid if you damage your motor. Now you want to try and repair it. Now I feel it's quite a useful video, a useful watch, you know, for many reasons. Damaged Hall sensor, damaged motor cable, damaged axle, damaged bearings. Maybe the windings in the motor are no good. Obviously you won't know that though, by visually looking. So I've gone around and nipped all them up. I'm happy with that. Now I'm just going to go around, check the gap. Looks good. Yeah, cool. So I won't keep you guys watching this video for much longer because obviously it's dragged on now. But what I will do, just quickly, after I turn the camera off, is I'm just going to go around again, just double check 9 bolts on both sides is all good. And I'm going to reinstall my circlip on there. Not sure why they have that. I can't really see what purpose it serves, but I'll put it back on because obviously it was on there when it came. Yeah guys, so I hope you liked the video. I hope it was helpful. Sorry if it was a bit boring and dragged on, but just trying to do my best. Just trying to help you guys out. You know, trying to save you throwing your old wheel away, potentially repairing it for whatever reason. Like I say, might be the axle. We might just want to replace the side plate because you damaged the holes where the disc brake goes, for example. So obviously you can see how easy it is to take that off. You don't need a puller, you don't need any fancy tools. If you just want to take the side plate off, all you need is a 4mm Allen key, and possibly a mallet, and a piece of wood, just so you can obviously protect your axle and protect your floor. Also, if you cut your cable, sliced it off, disc brakes come off, cut into it, you know, all sorts, axles spun in the dropout, stretched your cable, split it. You know, there's so many reasons why it happens. Again, this side, freewheel, maybe you want to change the freewheel, but you can't get the freewheel off. So the only option is to replace the side plate, buy a new side plate, put a new freewheel on. Really easy to do. I would not be afraid of stripping down a motor if you don't have much experience. Hopefully this video's helped, and yeah, if you've got any questions, just drop them in the comments and I'll see what I can do to help you guys. Alright then, thank you.